Okay, I'm going to make a cast on comb. This is one mostly started. I've got 5 left to a can, and what it is, it's a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch oak strip, and it's about let me see. It is approximately, let's see, about 19 inches long. The length is immaterial. You will need your piece of wood, some paper clips. I use needle nose pliers. You'll need some glue, and this is the only time I've used my yellow coat. Okay, you first bend your paper clip so that it's straight, except for the small portion of the hook. And then you do the best you can to straighten this out by bending it one way then the other, and it's trial and error to get it straight. Just take your time, and once you get it straight, it'll look kind of like this. Now, for every hole you drill, you'll need one of these. And I have drilled 61 holes, 1/8 of a millimeter apart. I kind of got messy here, but it's just for a cast on comb. It's not a garter bar. A garter bar, it has to be precise, which is why I don't try to make one too much. You take the tip of the straighted out paper clip. I'm holding it by the tip and curling it up so it looks kind of like a C. Can you see the 2 hooks on it? This is the one that's going to hook onto the yarn, the material. And then I take the little bitty hook that I just made and squish it. Then I hold it about that far, really tight with my pliers. I set it up in the hole. Can I come in on that? Okay, that's about as close as I can. Now I'm about 1/8 of an inch away from the board. I'm going to support the top a little bit, and I'm going to push really hard on the pliers. Then move the pliers up just a little bit, about another 1/8 of an inch, and push down. And do that up a little bit and push down. Try not to knock it over or drop it. Believe it or not, that's the first one I did of these. And push it down until it reaches the top of your yellow card. Now you could use anything, that's just the length I wanted. I did not want them too short because then it would be too hard to take it on and off. Just make sure it's all straightened out, and you want the curve you're putting into it to go in the direction that the curve is at the other end. You're basically just going to fold it over using the ridges on the tool and squish it. Now you squished it fairly tight. You see that? Okay, and then you're going to push it into the hole, little bit at a time. And you do it a little bit at a time, so if you get carried away, you'll bend it in a 45-degree angle. You really don't want that. Now this hole, I used a drill. The drill size was a 3/32. And see, now that is fairly straight, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. And I'm just taking a little bitty edge. Can you see it? You can't see it out the other end hardly. And just curve it towards the hook. And that hook is just the small end of the paper clip. And then I line it up to the hole, take a little bit, push it down. And sometimes you have to push it hard. So I'm watching it. Now I'm running out of cord here. My other end is fairly, I laid some glue on, which I'll lay some in a minute here, as soon as I get these 3 in. But I might be able to, no, it doesn't want to slide. To get it out, because I'm going to use this cord, I'm just going to push this side, because it's not attached to nothing, it's just resting on the piece of wood, and just carefully push it out, kind of knock it out. And now when they're like this, I don't worry too much about it, because like I said, it's just for a cast on comb, and I'll just bend that back out that way. I'll come back to this end that I'm working on. And now this is going to be kind of strange because I've only got 2 to work with. So I bend this right back out. I wonder if I could pull that down. And holding it in the grooves, because otherwise it'll flip and flop all over the place. Let me see if I can pull. I think what I'll do is I'll pull it out. I only need those 2 done. Pulling it down carefully, taking it out, sliding it down to cover all the holes, and then just slide it back up into it. Now these that aren't glued will go, I'm going to have to go carefully there. Make sure they're all stuck in. Probably the easiest way is make a sandwich out of them. And then bring them up. Making sure all the heads are in the square, and then just lock it in. When I say lock it in, all I'm doing is I'm pushing it down so that it rests on, it's leaning inside the holes. And make sure these are lined back up. And like I said, it's just cast on, so it does not have to be perfect. But I am going to glue that because some of these holes are a little bit bigger than what I need. Now the way I put them up, which you can put them in any way, I have 61 holes. I have an extra one at my other end down here. Alright. Didn't mean to get lost in there. Okay, and I'm curving that a little bit. I'm using the holes to keep my paper clip straight. Still not real super duper straight, but and just pushing it into the hole. Making sure that the curled part, which I'm going to start calling that a hook, making sure that hook is fastened over the yellow square. I want to make sure it is as straight as you can get it. It doesn't have to be, it just has to be reasonably straight. Okay, now once I get those in there, as you can see, these are glued, which is not quite dried yet, but it's enough to work on. The glue I'm using, see if I get that shadow out, is tacky glue. I've tried using Elmer's glue. That was not very productive. And I'm just shaking the glue down to the tip of the squirt part. And now I'm just gonna, let's see, just gonna line it, get the glue up to the front, and just drop a bead along that side. Now once I take that yellow card off, like I have it the other side, I'm just flipping this over so I can get to the other side. I will drop a bead along this side. And then I will let it glow. I will let it dry. And then I'll be able to use my 60 pin cast on comb. And so I don't have to count this every time I want to use it. I use colors, like I got 5 pink ones here at the end. And then I go to 10 blue, 10 green, 10 blue, 10 green, 10 blue, 5 pink for 60 pins. And then I'll let that dry. And once I take this yellow off, I will run the bead of glue on the flip side. And I will do my level best to let that dry for 24 hours. I'm not the most patient person going, but I will try. And we'll catch you later. I'll try to post this shortly. Thank you for your time, and this is CDS Studios. Have a good night.